Before watching the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel and enable bell notification to never miss an update from us.
Hello everyone and welcome to Entry Channel. This is Ashma and in this video we're going to talk about daily news events. So the discussion is going to be centered around the news events that are important for the examination point of view. So we're going to cover only those news events majorly which will be important from the examination perspective, be it any examination. So in this video we talk about the news events which can be important for either SSC or banking or railways or be it defense. So any of the examination that might happen and for which current affairs are important, for all those examinations this video is made. In this video we are going to talk about the news events in a bit of detail in some parts, and some parts are going to be one-liners depending on the news event and the regarding information or the news event around that event. News events or static information around the events is also going to be discussed. So I hope you all like the video. So the first one which we are going to talk about is Project Kirana. Now, what's about this project and what's so special about this project? First of all, who has launched it? It has been launched by MasterCard and United States Agency for International Development. And it has been launched only in UP as of now. So its trial, or you can say the pilot project of it, has been launched in UP. Why UP? That you will come to know once we get to know about the objective. So Project Kirana is basically to enable women entrepreneurs to grow and launch their own startups, thrive and gain that financial independence, right? So when the purpose of it comes clear, that its major aim is to bring in women into the picture of business and build digital literacy and financial literacy of women. So as of that, now when we come to know about this brings us to the fact that first of all, UP is the most populous state of India, and second of all, more than 10% of the women population are employed over there in micro, small and medium enterprises. So that makes it important because now when there are women who are actually working towards financial independence in UP, for them this information is a must-have information, right? And that is how it is coming out to be. Then second of all is that it has not been launched in the whole of UP as of now. It is a 2-year program and right now it is going to be launched in selective cities, that being Kanpur, Lucknow and Varanasi. So in UP also, in selective cities of Kanpur, Lucknow and Varanasi, it has been launched, and maybe in the term period of 2 years it might expand a bit, but as of now it has been restricted to these 3 cities in the state of UP or Uttar Pradesh. Next coming, Booker Prize 2020. Now there are 2 things about Booker Prize that we often students get confused it, and that is first thing, that there are 2 awards, one being Booker Prize and one being International Booker Prize, right? Second of all, some students say that till last year it was called Man Booker Prize, but why not now? Why this man has been removed, right? So we'll be talking about both these news events along with this event. So first of all, who is the winner of the Booker Prize 2020? That is Douglas Stewart, and that was for his debut novel Shuggie Ban. So Shuggie Ban is the book for which Douglas Stewart has won Booker Prize. This can be framed as a question as who is the author of Shuggie Ban, or it can be framed as who is the winner of Booker Prize 2020. Now as for Booker Prize, it's a literature award for the best novel, and that novel should be written in English and published in Ireland or UK. Now this is the thing which differentiates Booker Prize from International Booker Prize. That is, Booker Prize is for those books which have been written in English and published in Ireland or UK, whereas for International Booker Prize, the novel can be written in any language, but it should be translated to English. It should be translated to English and be published in UK. Right, next, earlier it was called Man Booker Prize, as most of you might have heard, and before that it was called Booker McDonnell Prize. Now why these name changes there? That is because of the sponsor. Till from 2002 to 2009, 2019, Mann Foundation was the one which was funding or helping in the Booker Prize distribution, sponsoring it. Before that, McConnell was there. Now there is currently no sponsor, and therefore it is normally called Booker Prize. Who has been an Indian winner? So Arundhati Roy was the Indian winner of Booker Prize in 1997, and she won it for the book The God of Small Things, and that is the reason that even till date you find certain questions in the examination which ask about the God of Small Things. International Booker Prize is the one in which it has been translated to English and has been published in United Kingdom. So publishing in United Kingdom is must, but it is about the book being written in English and being translated in English. Now, 2020 winner was Marky Lucas Reginald, and this was for her book The Discomfort of Evening. And the translator is Michelle Hutchison. Now, when the award is given for International Booker Prize, it is divided between the translator and the author. It is not an award completely to the author. It is divided between the translator and the author. Next is land management system, which has come up for basically defense. So defense minister has launched this, that being Shri Rajnath Singh. So Shri Rajnath Singh has launched this. And this portal is for defense land management. Now, recently you might have heard that a certain change has come in the defense land management. That is that now defense personals or defense companies can give their land which is no longer in use or which they are not using much. They can give it or rent it to the public sector domains, and they can use it for development of infrastructure which is important for the public, like building up toilets or parks or something like that. They can build that up, and for whatever lease time the defense is giving them, they can develop. The only thing that the defense would require is when they take the land back, they want the infrastructure along with it. This is the only thing. So this amendment was brought in recently. Now after that, this new amendment has come up, which is going to increase the transparency and speed and efficiency in dealing of that land management. Now, as I told you, that land management, what is going to happen? They're going to give it on lease. Now when they're giving it on lease, there has to be some proof. There has to be some transparency into who is receiving it, who is working on it, and what works are being done. So this portal is going to help in building the transparency and the speed and the efficiency, right? It is also integrated with GIS. Now, if we talk about the defense land encroachments, in the last 3 years, UP, Haryana and Maharashtra are the ones where the highest encroachments have been seen. Out of all the defense land that is there, 80% of it lies with Indian Army, and UP, Haryana and Maharashtra are the states where the encroachments are the maximum as for the last 3 years, that is from 2017 to 20. Who manages the defense lands? So defense lands are managed by Directorate General of Defense Estates, right? Now we come to wind solar hybrid park. Now there are going to be hybrid parks to be built which will have system for generating energy via wind as well as from solar panels, right? So who has proposed this? This is a proposal from Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and it is going to be a concentrated zone which is going to be created of power projects. Now what is the concentrated zone about? Now concentrated zone means that in a particular area there is going to be wind energy generation, there is going to be power via solar panels. So that means the amount of power that is going to be generated is doubled via right, which land was only being used for wind energy is now being used for solar energy as well, right? So that's the difference that is going to come up. Now sites will be selected by National Institute of Wind Energy because they need to see if the wind is flowing in the right direction, right, which can be used. The wind strength is useful. Now each park will be able to generate 500 megawatts of energy or more. The minimum expectation is 50 megawatts, but that is like in the least possible case. Otherwise, if any park is going to be set up, it will have to have at least 500 megawatts or more of energy that can be generated by this park or wind and solar hybrid park. Then we have seismic survey for oil and gas exploration, which has been launched by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel, and Where has it been launched? It has been launched in Mahanadi Basin of Odisha. Right. Now, what is a seismic survey? Seismic survey is being conducted to basically find out areas where the oil presence can be there, or expected oil presence can be there. It can be a very game changer thing. So their purpose is to find out where there can be a possibility of finding natural gas or oil. Right, so finding the hydrocarbon resources available in the area is seismic campaign, for which government has estimated the survey of around 220 crores. Now, how seismic survey functions is that from the seismic waves are there, they are released, and every place or every element which is there, be it a rock or a water or animal or any other development which is there, if any such development is there, every geological structure has a different strength to which it reflects that wave. So a wave is transmitted, your sound signals are transmitted, and the return of them or the reflection of them is seen. How they reflect will tell what is inside, or from where they are being reflected, what is that place from where they are being reflected. And that in turn is going to help us found whether the source is there or it's not there. Right? So if this is the surface, from here the sounds have been transmitting, they have been sent, and right over here we have a well, and over here we have a rock system, right? So the reflection of this and the reflection which is going to come over here is going to be completely different, and that is how they'll come to know that this is a rock and this is something which can be a possible source of what we are looking for. The National Seismic Program was launched in 2016, and for the first time this survey is being done. If we talk about Mahanadi, Mahanadi is the 8th largest basin in India, and it flows through MP, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. So the major water source for MP, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. And there's a dam which is built on Mahanadi, which is a very important one, that is Hirakund Dam. Hirakund Dam is built over Mahanadi, right? Now, moving ahead, RuPay card phase 2 has started. It has jointly been launched by India and Bhutan. Now, in phase 1, what was there was that Indians can use RuPay card in Bhutan. Now, in the second phase, the Bhutanese can come to India and use their RuPay card for their payments purpose, right? So earlier it was from India for Indians who go to Bhutan. Now it is for Bhutanese who come to India as well. Right? Now, one thing which can come as a possible question for all of you in this perspective is that which are the border states of Bhutan? Right? That is something which can be asked, because recently there has been a hydroelectric park of Bhutan which has won the award for best engineered, which was engineered by India and gifted to Bhutan. Right? So again, Bhutan in news, so therefore we must know the neighboring states at least. So neighboring states are, if I list out the name, just let me change the color and then I'll tell you. Right. So the neighboring states of Bhutan are Assam, then Sikkim, West Bengal, and Arunachal Pradesh. So these are the 4 states which border Bhutan, and on the southern side it is surrounded by Tibetan and Chinese region, as you can say. Next, 30th Indo-Thai Corporate exercise is being held as of now, and that is being conducted from 18th to 20th of November. Then India and World Bank have signed an agreement of $120 million US, which will help modernize the transport sector of Meghalaya. So for Meghalaya, recently Center of Excellence is going to be set up by Israel. This deal was done recently, and now Meghalaya's transport is also improvising, with World Bank signing an agreement of $120 million US. Right? Now, next, that comes as National Newborn Week, which is celebrated from 15th of November to 21st of November. Right? This week is basically to spread the awareness about the fact that how a newborn child needs to be taken care of, and how that age that is the newborn's age gap which is there, which is very, very important for determining whether the child is going to be healthy in the future or not. Right? Then India and European Union held the counter-terrorism dialogue. Recently, it was by BRICS, and then now for counter-terrorism, India and European Union has also held a meeting. Reserve Bank of India is soon proposing to merge Lakshmi Vilas Bank and DBS Bank India Limited. Both of them are supposedly going to be merged as of now. Then Operation Calypso was conducted recently, which is basically a drug bust, you can say. So it works on the fact that, collecting up the facts of where the drugs are being traded illegally. And DRI bust has been recently indicated that cocaine transnational smuggling that happened. It basically tracks the drug rackets, and recently cocaine and transnational smuggling has been spotted out. Right? So with this, we wind up the segment for today. I hope you liked the video and the information shared was helpful to all of you. Do hit the like button, do like the video, share the video as much as you can because it's helpful for all of your examination perspectives. See you in the next video, or see you tomorrow as we can say. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and have a wonderful day ahead.